This is a quick review of geometry and just a quick review on how to count the area of something. And I'm going to show you specifically on triangles, and I'm going to show you two different ways, and you figure out your favorite way. The first and easiest way to figure out area is to simply count the squares, the square inches that polygon takes up. So if I would look at this green triangle, I could count the square inches that it covers. The square inches that are actually inside of it. Now that's kind of tricky to do because of all the little corners and points, but I'll show you that in just a second. The area of a triangle is measured by how many square inches can fit on the interior of it. That means the inside. So I take my triangle and I put it on top of a grid of square inches, and then I just start counting. The trouble is that usually the parts of square inches that land on the edge are very difficult to count, but I'll show you how to do that later. So if I just look at this triangle and I want to count the squares that it covers up, let me move it out of the way and just start counting. In the very least, I can say that the triangle has an area of at least 15 square inches. At least 15. I know it's at least 15, and I know it's smaller than 30. So at least now I have a range of where I can go. But in fact, the actual answer is 18. Can you see where I got 18 from? So this triangle has an area of 18 square inches. The second way to solve for area is to use a formula and multiply two things. So I get my same triangle, but let's pretend I don't have the grid. If I don't have the grid, I need to know the length of the base and the length of the height, and I take those two numbers and divide them by 2 or multiply by a half. In other words, base times height times a half. The area of a triangle is measured by how many square inches fit on the inside of it. Like this. But now we're doing it without the grid there. The trouble is that usually the parts of square inches that land on the edge are difficult to count. So we multiply them instead of counting them. Watch how I do that. I know the height is 6 units. And I know the base is 6 units. So I take 6 times 6 and I divide that by 2, because this triangle actually takes up half of that whole space. That whole grid is 6 times 6. So half of it is divided by 2. So 6 times 6 is, and 36 divided by 2 is, so the area of this green triangle is 18 units squared. Let's practice on another kind of triangle. The height is still 6 inches, but the length is much shorter. The length is 3 inches. So now I'm going to take 6 times 3 and divide that by 2. So 6 times 3 divided by 2 is 9 units squared. And that kind of works no matter what orientation the triangle is in. Uh-oh, something's wrong with my numbers. What is the height from here? It's still 3 units long. What is the height? What is the length? Okay, so now I do 6 times 3 divided by 2. So 6 times 3 divided by 2 is, okay. And this is not a right triangle. The others that I was showing you was right triangles. This is a different kind of triangle, but the formula still works. I take the height, which is the very, very top of the triangle, to the very, very bottom of the triangle in a straight line. The height is 6 units. The base, or the length, is 6 units. So now I take 6 times 6 divided by 2. All right. And in fact, this formula works for almost anything. I take the height, oh wait, it doesn't exactly land where it's supposed to land. I know the length. The length is exactly 3. Oh wait, but that's only the length of one base. This formula doesn't quite work on anything else besides triangles, but I know you're a clever person. Can you draw a line on this shape and make one triangle? I can draw a few lines and make a few triangles and quadrilaterals and therefore figure out the area. So just think of whatever assignment you have, whatever crazy shape you have to figure out the area, just cut it into triangles and squares or triangles and rectangles and you'll be able to find the area super easy. So here's our grid of square inches. The first way to solve for area is to simply count the square inches that fit on the inside. The second way to solve for area is to multiply the base and the height and divide it by 2. And that's it. That's exactly how you solve for area.